Like, we have this shame in our culture around copying. We feel like it's not good to copy someone else's business, to copy what someone else is doing with their brand. I would say most companies are pulling, copying inspiration from other places.
You know who's the best at this?
Who?
Mark Zuckerberg. He is the king of effectively plagiarizing other businesses, and he gets away with it.
It's the battle of the billionaires.
The app, originally known for artful photos, now focusing on video.
Are you copying Twitter?
No, Threads is an Instagram app. It's different.
And I think it's going to piss off a lot of people, too.
Snipe, the best of everything.
Sniper, no sniping.
Sniper, no sniping.
Even we think it's bad to do
Except
that.
keep sniping.
Sniper, keep sniping.
Because you have an $800 billion market cap, so clearly something is working for
That's
you.
also, this is like how big companies, Facebook is or Meta is a big company now. This is how it works. You go look at what other people are doing. That's why people acquire businesses. That's the game, really.
It's they're Frankenstein's monster, though, of everything that has ever been popular in social. So it's like he sits back, he says, I'm going to watch everyone else spend their money on the R&D and spend their time on the R&D, and then once they get something that's taken off, I'm going to first offer to buy them. And if they say no, then I'm going to say, okay, stories, those are mine now.
Oh,
going live,
took
that's mine now. So it's Facebook. That was MySpace. Facebook was his spin on MySpace, right? That already was out there. Or Friendster.
What was the spin?
Whatever it was.
What was the spin?
He elevated it. He made it more elitist because it was like only a Harvard EDU email address could get on this site. And it felt like an adult version of MySpace. And so it kind of had this cachet that MySpace didn't have. And so it felt a little less juvenile, I think.
Interesting. But that's a pretty small spin. That really, the only spin there in a big way is target market. Right? Like, I'm going to go after this specific niche target of Harvard students, eventually all college students, eventually everybody and their mama is now on Facebook. But like starting...
And like only the mamas.
Now it's just my grandma at this point.
It's
Like, she's just like...
like, I can't remember the last time. But that's the thing is, like, then, like, Periscope and Clubhouse got big. And then they added Facebook Live.
I remember Periscope. Okay.
Where'd they go? They're nowhere now because there's Facebook and Instagram Live. Snapchat was gaining momentum. Boom, now we got stories. By the way, Instagram, he just bought them. He said, you know what, that's cooler now, and all the kids want to be on that. I'm just going to buy it.
So do you think of this as a bad strategy? Like, do you feel a little about that practice?
I mean, define bad, because it's clearly working. It's working. But I think it's one of those things, to your point, like culturally we have such an aversion to the idea of copying other people because it seems like, oh, it's not fair, oh, you're cheating. Oh, but I mean... like TikTok, that's another popular one. TikTok got really popular kind of out of nowhere during the pandemic. It was originally that app Musical.ly, and then it became TikTok, and then everyone was on TikTok, and then they were like Reels.
Musical.ly? They were a totally different product and then pivoted.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
And then the Instagram launched Reels. And so I think they're doing the broadcast channels, which is basically a riff on Discord. And then they're obviously, I think they noticed that Twitter/X was kind of down the tubes, and they were like, Threads. And you know, my favorite thing about Threads is the way that they pitched it. Like, the brand positioning of Threads was like, it's like Twitter, but people are nice to you.
Yeah, okay, no, listen, I forgot about this because Instagram has a Twitter-like product too. Now, I'm actually refusing to use it. I'm just like, I can't.
I am
another
too.
one. I will eventually probably end up being there, but I'm just like holding off. You were bringing up all these good examples of Facebook just like swipe or keep swiping.
And I think those things have worked for them. I will say that, like, I worked at Meta when they made the switch. It was my second week of working for Facebook, and they go, we're Meta now. I was like, oh, okay. Interesting timing. But that was the first, in my opinion, their first big bet on we're going to get in front of something. The metaverse and this big Web3 virtual reality thing, they weren't really, I mean, they bought Oculus. So in some sense, they didn't invent the idea. The headsets, the like crazy clunky things that no one is going to wear until they look cool. No one's going to put something hideous on their face.
The nerd bros will use it.
Yeah. The nerd bros are good, but that's a tiny little segment of the market,
the market
right?
size of nerd bros.
That's not you can't make $1 billion off the nerd bros. That was their first time that they like really tried something that was fully their own and their own bet. And like the consensus about that was Floptopia.
It's floptopia. Facebook
So
has been
far.
promising metaverse stuff for a while. First of all, they like I don't even fully know what it even means.
I don't think they know what it means.
They don't even know what it
I think
means.
they're like, this is where we see things going, and we're gonna figure it out. But they're trying to like stake their claim on it, you know? But I'm like, that's just interesting to me because why are people really staying, right? Like, why are we still on Instagram? Why are people still on Facebook? I think we're seeing people aging out a little bit of these different platforms, and so you have to keep innovating.
going.
But like, all of it ladders up to keeping and monetizing eyeballs.
Yeah.
And to me, their biggest risk is not that these platforms they're going to lose the eyeballs. They have what, like 3 billion monthly active users? Like you basically have half the world's population on your product. There's not much more room to grow.
Yeah.
Anyone with an internet connection is on the product. But the fact that I think the iOS 14 privacy thing to me is a bit of an indicator of where the trouble could be on the horizon, which is that if your entire business model is ads,
Yeah.
then if no one is paying you directly and you rely on that targeting, they probably will keep innovating to find ways to do that.
Yeah.
But that is a big risk for them, I think. Like far more of an existential risk than like they're just ripping off the best features of everybody else. And they launched like meta verification. That's like what, $2 billion a year out of the hundreds of billions of dollars that they make on I mean, it's just like a tiny, tiny little piece of the puzzle.
One of the things, when I hear about Facebook doing this, and I think you've actually pulled out like a bunch of examples, so it's really clear and in my face right now, it kind of feels like it gives me permission to lean into this too. Like in our culture, we have this like don't copy anybody value. And now when I see big companies like Facebook doing it, I'm like, okay, well, like if it's working for Facebook, literally in this scenario, it works really well for Facebook. And scenarios where they try to do their own thing, like the metaverse, it's like, well, what are they even doing? It's kind of a flop thus far. So that's actually the thing that's working. That's the blueprint thus far. Mm-hmm. And I think there's nothing wrong with following a blueprint. Right. And one of those blueprints is in business, go find things that people are doing successfully. It could be in a different industry. It could be in a different lane. But take that, kind of put your own little spin on it. It doesn't have to be a massive spin. A little spin is fine and go forward with it.
If you can share the show with a friend, that would also be really, really helpful and lovely and to just help grow this community of entrepreneurs that are building businesses together.
Yeah. Swipe or keep swiping.